Dean of the Faculty of Theology, I am here and try to briefly to reflect Quranic understanding of inclusivism in a pluralist society. I am very glad to be in a country, very rich country, and I know Romanian eminent professor of history of religions, Mr. Alici. I like him, even I love him, because of his ideas about intercultural dialogue. According to him, the man must encounter, analyze, compare the true religious values of mankind. In this intercultural age, the Western part, on their side, are being increasingly led to study, reflect on, and understand the spiritualities of Asia and so-called archaic world. These modern contacts, discoveries, and researches must be carried out through the intercultural dialogues. For Alici, the true and fruitful dialogue cannot be limited to the empirical language and pragmatic interest. Instead, it must focus on the central values in the cultures of the dialogue participants. In fulfilling this task, the history of religions has urgently a cultural role. That is, as the intercultural and interreligious dialogue of mankind, it must undertake its true cultural function by encountering and making the meanings of all the religious documents of mankind intelligible to the mind of modern man. Muslims believe in Islam as the religion of the human within whole times, so as to wish to live their own cultural values and protect their religious identities, having been respected along with other human beings of faith without building any ghetto walls. They don't treat the others as the threatening persons, the hostile, the enemy, or at least as ardent opponents. Moreover, historically, theologically, and sociologically, having been experienced interreligious and intercultural praxis and implementations, they wish to live in peace and happiness altogether with other religious persons, expressing themselves soundly and genuinely. In this presentation, as a historian of religions, therefore a non-confessional, non-normative, and non-exclusivist, I try to deal with the Muslim approach to the other faithful, defined as all-embracing reconciliatory and acculturative treatments to the others, identified as inclusivism. Before my presentation, I want to say that as an educated one in Roma, Gregoriana University, I have got good implications from Roman Catholic understanding of inclusivism. The inclusivistic characteristic of Islam is very clear. As the primal and original form of all human faiths, beliefs and religions, Islam embraces universal and local forms of religious crafts, chips and scraps expressed religiously by humankind. That is to say, every theology and experience coming from mankind is valuable, and as long as insider knowledge and deserved to be valued, not being ignored or excluded, since man is the creation of God's hand, being breathed divine spirit. The fact that Islam includes all the people and their sacred systems means that it grasps all their understandings, the basic concepts named under the religion in outline and perceived as the religious, and even the other elements just because they are required in order to interpret in terms of hermeneutics by making both phenomenological and anthropological comparisons with those of Islam. From the anthropological point of view, Islam, without making any ethnical exclusion, whole of the humanity, children of Adam, have the chain through a process of continuous embracing by claiming that all human qualities to be emphasized on as spontaneity and not natural ones, and must be always supported to survive on. Islamic revelation also is inclusivistic. The faith of Abraham, the forefather of Jews, Christians, and Muslims, has his own type of communication with the Supreme Being, revelation. For these three faithful men, no religion is a product of a human culture, but all religion depends on revelation. Portals for revelation in the human personality are three equal values, namely the human common intellect or understanding, the initiation of infinity, and the conscience. In conclusion, history of religion is a true worship of God, as well as both nature and genius man are. The term Islam is also inclusivistic. It is well known that the term Islam is derived from the root of Selama, meaning peace. However, the term Islam is meant as submission to the Supreme Being, as well as making peace for the social life. Therefore, the Islam, as the religion of peace, is not persuaded. It has not persuaded peace, but a dynamic peace, whereas the Muslim is both peaceful and peacemaker. So that Islam, as an active peace and tranquility, has to be expanded through every social unit. Submission is of instinctively human nature. By this human faculty of fully loving submission and surrender, a Muslim might penetrate into the realms of phenomena. In this result, Muslim, having this amative comprehension, might talk with other faithfuls easily. The Prophet Muhammad has also inclusivistic model for Muslims. Sunnah, or tradition of the Prophet, is the second source of Muslims after the Quran, so it is normative, binding, instructive, and paradigm for Muslims. Being a model of merciness and the charity towards the humanity, in this respect, Holy Quran represents Muhammad to the Muslim with three urgent features, namely, as a particular dimension, uswa hasana, good example for the life, and the comparative and inclusivist dimension, Khatamun Nabiyyin, it means the seal or the last of the previous prophets, as an universal dimension, Rahmat al-Alamin, the merciful merciness for the universe. By this way, Muslims understand that Muhammad was on the way to emigrate and talk with God by mouth like Moses. He was stoned like Jonas in Nineveh. He was in seclusion and resources for the one single supreme being like that of his forefather Abraham. He was betrayed by his own brothers like Joseph. While he was an ardent warrior like David, he founded a peaceful state like King Solomon did. So he embraces the previous prophets' lives and modelings and characteristics and messages. Muslims can find easily a part of prophetic sunnah when they read their stories narrated in Quran. Quranic inclusivism towards others is also urgently must be insisted on. Islam is taxonomically embraces both the universal religious values and locally innocent values of the humankind. The truth is the lost gift of Muslims. Islam is in everywhere. It means submission. This position gets Islam able to speak about every religious and every socio-cultural affairs man created. Moreover, Quran encompasses all the innocence, justice, and truth wherever they are. Man is worthy of being addressed by the Quran. Whatever religion he has, having the purest nature called by God, is the most honored creature of the universe. According to contemporary Muslims, Quran attempts a continued revelation to all people of book. It means Judeo-Christian tradition. Inclusivistic approach means the acceptance of all monotheistic traditions as believers who may attain salvation. Among those who affirm this position, some of them defend the context of revelations and of the overall inclusivistic affirmation of the Quran. Still others admit that certain verses really are negative and that dialogue has to come to terms with the apparently exclusive as well as obviously inclusive passages as honestly as possible. All of these realities must be seen in the light of essentially inclusivistic message of the Quran, in which it is affirmed that God created different nations and tribes, that there is no compassionate religion, that only God is ultimate knower of truth. The context is as important as the text in looking at development Muslim views about Christianity. And the result, in the eyes of Muslims, that the Christians are not same with a Hindu or a Buddhist. Instead, the Christians are the most affiliated persons to Muslims in afflictions and law. Therefore, Muslims encountering with a Christian must and can enrich his understanding of Christianity. It may help him to increase his spirituality too. Christianity is for him essentially a mystery. The beauty of Christianity lies in the acceptance of this divine mystery, while Islam teaches that it is man who is veiled from God. Allah is not veiled from him. He had to know God. So, Islam is essentially a way of marifah, gnosis. I want to come to conclusions. We may say that Quran offers some certain prescription for the coexistence of people of various faiths. If Islam provides the leadership based on Quranic principles of justice and forgiveness, and encompassing an inclusivistic multicultural community of Muslims would emerge, since Muslims look upon the concept of living together, symbiosis, as a Quranic approach. For Islam, the society in which Muslims live is inevitably a multicultural community. It means that an intercultural society is a natural and de facto position, not a de jure situation, as perceived so long in history by the other systems. For this reason, Muslims, for instance, concretely Turks, form the societies consistent of different believers, of diverse cultures, of diametrically contrasted traditions, as well as interracial matrimonies of various worldviews. They could manage to live together in peace and tranquility, just as the Quran ordered them to behave so. Just because the Quran both accepts and expects the reality of difference and diversity, insofar as diversity is a primary purpose of creation. While the Quran clearly claims absolute truth for Islam, it doesn't completely exclude the possibility that there might be other paths to salvation. That the Quran recognizes the legitimate multiplicity of religious convictions and laws, and that it is possible for non-Muslims to attain the blessing of salvation in their path to one unique God. For Muslims, their context is as important as their texts in looking at development of their views about other faithfuls. So we may easily understand that, instructed by the inclusivistic ideas of Quran, and even being told merciful to the world and optimistic in nature, Muslims must behave other creatures by giving them liberation and service. Having been so sensitive to the environment, a Muslim means not solely peaceful but peacemaker to the universe and submitted one to the Supreme Being. Therefore, Muslim-Christian relations have a complex and often negative history, and in the modern, post-colonial, globalizing and ever-increasingly multi-faith world of today, relations between these two faithful are arguably more important than ever. While significant progress has been made recently in this way, there is still much work to be done to move that intercultural space forward significantly towards reconciliation and peace. Thus, we may insistently say that Quran is inclusivistic about Christianity, Christians, and Christendom. That is to say, Islam has an urgently positive outlook towards the Christian values such as Jesus Christ, His mother and apostle, etc. But it is, in a word, ambivalent about the phenomena and theologies established by the Church during the history of Christendom. So, Islam contains positive and embracing dogmas affirming the original roots of Christians, but also to them it adds some cautious and rejecting teachings about the traditional beliefs of Christians, especially that they are associated with Jesus. Main conflicts are based on the Christological teachings. In conclusion, We may call Muslims' attitude towards the Christians a sort of yes, but condition. However, it could be considered as a part of inclusivism. We may say that inclusivistic approach affirmed in the Quran is one that must find ways to relate to and accommodate those beyond the category of people of book. Thanks for your patience. Thank you very much for your listening.